January 2nd, 2005. It is cold enough to freeze your breath. Shin is standing just a few steps from the electric fence. His heart is pounding so hard because he is about to run from the only place he has ever known. He is standing in Camp 14, also known as Kaechon, a North Korean prison camp that covers over 155 square kilometers near the Taedong River and home to almost 15,000 prisoners. There are mountains stretching 50 kilometers in all directions, and Shin has to cross them if he wants to survive. Next to him is his friend Park, who is watching the fence. He is about to help Shin escape the prison and see the outside world for the first time ever. All they have to do is cross the electric fence before the guards arrive. But from what are they running from? What horror lies inside these camps? Will they succeed in escaping? Let's find out. What Shin is running from is not just a prison. He is running from a country where a teenager can be sentenced to 12 years of hard labor just for watching a drama, where using a word that sounds too South Korean can land you in a prison camp. This is North Korea, a place where truth is illegal. Culture is controlled down to your clothes, your slang, and your haircut. In 2024, leaked footage showed two 16-year-olds paraded in front of hundreds of students for watching South Korean TV. In another case, 20 young athletes were sent to camps for speaking like kids in Seoul. Their parents were punished too. This is what Shin was running from, a place where you can be sent to prison camps for life for doing the tiniest things. One of these camps is Camp 14, where Shin was born. Camp 14 is a total control zone from where no one gets out. Political offenders are sent here, but not just them. Their children, their parents, and even their grandchildren. 3 generations punished for the crime of one. This means that people here are usually born into punishment. As soon as they are able to stand on their own feet, they are made to work. Sometimes 16-hour shifts in mines and factories. This is why Shin wants to leave this place, and his friend Park is helping him. Back to January 2nd, 2005. Shin and Park are standing just meters away from the electric fence that surrounds Camp 14. Shin stares at 3 rows of electric wires. He does not know how they're going to cross them, but knows what will happen if they touch the wires by accident. They will twitch and burn right there. But the thought of staying is worse. Park moves first. He takes a step forward, then climbs. As soon as his body touches the top wire, it convulses. Park falls forward, slams into the second wire, and gets stuck. Shin is standing there watching his friend's body twitch violently, and then it stops. Watching all this, Shin goes numb, but he does not have time to feel anything. So, he runs towards the fence, crawls over the fence using Park's body as a shield, and pushes through the wires. Electricity snaps against his legs. His skin tears open, but he does not stop. He lands on the other side, face first in the snow. By this time, his legs are bleeding and burned, but he is outside. Shin doesn't look back. He runs into the woods. The mountains stretch out in every direction, about 50 kilometers of rough terrain, and somewhere beyond them is another country, China. He does not have food or a map. He doesn't even know what a map is. But he runs anyway because everything behind him is death. But Shin is not the only one trying to leave behind a horrible life. Camp 14 is not the only inhumane place in North Korea. There are at least 4 other death camps across North Korea, each designed to erase those deemed disloyal. To the east lies Camp 15, known as Yodok. It stretches across 145 square miles in South Hamgyong province. It is surrounded by electric fences, guarded towers, and thousands of armed men with dogs. Here, prisoners dig gypsum and mine gold. Some are born into punishment, and some are sent for re-education. North of Yorok is Camp 16, Hasong, the largest of all, up to 560 square kilometers, and around 20,000 people are imprisoned here. This camp is divided into zones based on how severe the crime is, though even minor offenses can mean death here. Eyewitnesses say prisoners dig their own graves here before being killed with hammers. Others are starved, electrocuted, or buried alive. To the west, across the Taedong River from Camp 14 is Camp 18, and in the far north is the now infamous Camp 22. The government says it was shut down in 2012, but satellite images still show signs of life. This place is suspected to hold 50,000 people. Several first-hand testimonies from North Korean defectors have revealed that in Camp 22, guards inject women to force miscarriages, suffocate newborns, and test chemical weapons on whole families. Children die here of malnutrition by the thousands. Some prisoners are even forced into gas chambers, and guards watch them die through glass. And this is not just one place. These horrors happen across every camp. Some atrocities we know, as they were told by defectors and seen in satellite images, but many are still unknown, undocumented, and buried with the dead. What we know is horrifying. What we don't know might be worse. Camp 14 is one of these horrible places, and on November 19, 1982, Shin was born here. Inside a concrete barrack, a woman gives birth on the floor. The baby is Shin Dong-hyuk. His mother and father are prisoners, and now so is he. As soon as Shin turns 5, he is ordered to carry bundles of firewood across the frozen dirt paths. He also goes to school in the morning. Inside the camp, he sits on the cold concrete floor with his knees pressed tightly together and his back held perfectly straight. The children stay silent as guards walk between the rows. Each one carries a pistol at the hip and a wooden stick in hand. Every child knows one wrong move, and it could be their last day. By the time Shin turns 12, he is ordered to push heavy minecarts filled with rocks for 16 hours a day. Every day when the shift ends, he has to line up outside the meal shed, holding out a dented metal bowl. And every day he gets the same food, thin corn gruel. On rare days, there's a cabbage leaf in the bowl, upon which a fight can easily break out. He once saw a man stab another with a shovel for a piece of old cornbread. On days when the hunger becomes too sharp to ignore, Shin searches for rats behind storage sheds. If he catches one, he kills it quickly and hides it in his clothes before a guard sees him. Because once, a boy tried to cook a rat and set a wall on fire. The guards tied him to a post and beat him for 2 days straight. Shin listened to his screams through the night. The boy died in the morning. So Shin has to hide his rats because he wants to survive. Life is hard here, and so is death. When someone dies, prisoners drag the body away while the others keep working. That is how things are in Camp 14. You work, you stay quiet, you inform on others, and if you fail, you are killed. When Shin is 13, he is moved into the camp dormitory, which is a long concrete room lined with thin mats and nothing else. His mother and brother live in separate barracks. They don't talk often, and they are never alone together. But one night, Shin hears them whispering behind the kitchen wall. She was asking his brother about a plan to escape the prison. Shin doesn't know how they think they will get out. All he knows is this is the biggest crime anyone can commit, and anyone who doesn't report it is guilty too. So the next morning, Shin walks to the guard at school and tells him everything he heard. Shin was expecting praise, maybe an extra bowl of food, maybe even better assignments. But instead, the guards grabbed Shin by the arm and dragged him away. In the underground cell, they strip him naked and shove him into a cold, pitch-black room. They hang him by the wrists and ankles. A guard held burning charcoal beneath his back while another jabbed a metal hook into his thigh to get him to tell them more names and the whole plan. But Shin had nothing else to say, so they'd torture him anyway. When they grow tired, they leave him lying on the stone floor. After many weeks, guards pulled him out. They tossed his limp body into a truck and drove him to the camp yard. They pushed him into the front row. And there he saw them. His brother being dragged to the platform along with his mother. Both of them had their mouths gagged and they were about to be hanged. But just before they pulled the rope, his mother turned her head and looked at Shin. And then, the rope above his mother was pulled and his brother was shot. Watching both of them die in front of him shocked Shin to his core. While standing there, Shin feels the weight of what he has done. One part of him shouts that he did the right thing, that he followed the rules just like he was taught. But another part screams that he killed his own family. He wants to scream that he didn't know, that he was just a child doing what they told him. But no one is listening. And even if they were, it wouldn't matter because the damage is already done. He is given no time to grieve as he returns to work the next day. And then, every day, he watches people get kicked, whipped, slapped, or killed. There is no kindness in Camp 14. And then, at 22, Shin meets Park. Park is different. He is older, smarter, and says he lived outside the camp. He talks about food Shin has never heard of. Meat with spices, rice with beans, and eggs. At first, Shin thinks he's lying, but the stories don't stop. He tells Shin about China, about money, clothes, and people who don't live in fear. Shin does not care about politics or freedom, but he cares about meat, and that's enough. They start planning, and 1 year later, they run. Even though he lost his friend in the electric fence, he pushes through and finally reaches his freedom. After crossing the mountains, bribing a border guard with stolen rice, and crossing the Tumen River, he finally reaches China. In China, he hides at first, but then starts working on farms. Then, a journalist finds him. Through a chain of contacts, he reaches the South Korean consulate, from which he is flown to Seoul. As soon as he reaches there, Shin tells his story to newspapers, to the United Nations, to anyone who will listen. He also writes a memoir with journalist Blaine Harden and shows the world just how cruel North Korea is. This is Shin Dong-hyuk, who dragged the truth out from behind a closed-off hell and showed it to the world as someone who lived through it.
Some worked in the fields, others in factories. Some prisoners were sent to the mines. The aim of the concentration camp was to have inmates to be constantly working as a way to repent for their sins. We worked from the moment we opened our eyes until we went to bed.
And yet, the camps still exist. They are still running, hidden behind mountains and guarded walls to control an entire nation through fear. So now, the question is not what Shin escaped from. The question is, why are they still there? And how many more are still waiting to be heard?